I'm Andy Woodward, ANDYWOODWARD. I'm the Staff Sergeant at the Traffic Unit here at Calgary Police. Good morning to you all. Thank you for joining us today. As you know, impaired driving is December's focus on the Alberta Traffic Safety Calendar. While impaired driving is a concern and is enforced all year round, the approaching holidays presents an opportunity to raise further awareness and educate the public about the dangers and consequences. We know this is a time of year with a lot of parties and socialisation, which can often include drinking and using cannabis. We want everyone to enjoy the holiday season. All we are asking for our communities is that they do so safely. We have seen too many fatal collisions on Calgary roads this year. We're at 35, a 10-year high. Impairment was a factor in at least 5 of those collisions. Every impaired driving collision is a preventable one, and every life is lost is a tragedy we work tirelessly to avoid. While the numbers for impairment may not seem high, behind every fatality is a loved one who did not come home, and the first responder had to deliver heartbreaking news to a devastating family. And we cannot forget the non-fatal collisions that can leave lasting physical scars and emotional trauma. As we approach the holiday season, a time meant for joy, family and togetherness, many families will be spending a lot with a hole in their lives that can never be filled. We want to remind everyone that road safety is a shared responsibility. We all have a part to play in educating our friends and family and reminding them that choosing to drive sober or helping someone else make that choice can mean the difference between someone coming home safely or not at all. We are committed to preventing impaired driving through education and enforcement. Last year, our officers laid 112 impaired driving charges and issued more than 2,200 immediate roadside sanctions. So far this year, 109 impaired driving charges have been laid and 2,170 immediate roadside sanctions have been issued. Throughout December, we, along with our agency partners, are stepping up to enforcement and education efforts through the Check Stop programme. Calgarians can expect to see us out during the month in different areas of the city and at different times of the day, enforcing impaired driving and educating the public on the importance of sober driving. I hope everyone can enjoy the holiday season to ensure everyone's safety. We want to remind people in our communities that if you are planning to drink or use cannabis, arrange to get home safely. Have a designated driver, call a ride share or taxi, take public transport or find a safe location to spend the night. By taking these simple steps and encouraging our friends and family to do the same, we can keep our roads safe. Thank you.
We'll start with questions. Anyone in the room?
You know, you're obviously a veteran of this. Give us a sense of this. Obviously, the mistake is drinking and driving, or doing drugs and driving. But that said, what over the years have you seen has been some of the common mistakes people are making, coming from parties, coming from bars, coming from social activities, especially this time of year?
So a lot of people will get up and go to work, and then from work they'll go to a public house and drink, probably not eaten during the day, might not have slept well that night. Alcohol will play a factor into how much in relation to their driving they can actually drink. So my recommendation is, if you're going to drive, you don't drink. It's as simple as that. If you have a doubt in your mind that you haven't slept well the night before or you haven't had much to eat that day, don't take that risk and drink any alcohol at all.
By the way, you guys provided some stats over some recent years, but once again, as a veteran, are you seeing that people maybe overall are kind of getting the message, generally speaking, in Calgary? Have you seen it trending in a positive direction, or unfortunately no?
Yeah, no, I think it is trending in a positive direction, but we still want to get that figure down to 0 if we can.
Gotcha. And by the way, somebody was saying this to me today, and they said that, you know what, and it's their perception, so take this as anecdotal, but they said, it seems to me I'm seeing fewer check stops in recent years out there. Is that correct? I mean, are we seeing it deployed less or not, or more?
We are putting check stops out. What we do, we have a high-profile check stop, which is the bus and vehicles parked on the side of the road, and then vehicles are guided into the check stop. Or we have what we call a kind of low-profile one, which is a roving check stop, where you'll see police officers. We go to an area and we drive around that area and we stop, like we would be on patrol. So those are probably the ones that they're missing when they say they haven't seen a check stop. There is a check stop out there.
Question about pedestrian safety. So we saw in the new budget there is money to go towards fixing these problems of all the pedestrian deaths. Where do you think it's going to be most felt, or like where do you think it's going to be seen in the community?
So if we go back to pedestrian safety, and we can include impaired driving into that, you know, pedestrians themselves, they don't have to be behind a wheel of a car, but when they step out on a road and they've got no sense of direction because they've had too much to drink, they have to be aware of that. But what I'd like to see is, from a city point of view, that perhaps we can start highlighting the crosswalks a little bit better for the pedestrians and for the road users. They can see that there's a crosswalk there, so they can slow down.
Just on the high number of fatal crashes that have been happening over the last couple of years, is there, you mentioned impaired driving as a factor in some of them, but is there, more broadly speaking, one factor that stands out to you as something that needs to be addressed in order to help bring that number down?
Yeah, speed. If you're driving slower, you're going to be able to stop quicker. It's a simple answer. Speed is the main factor in fatals for sure.
Okay, and so then what is CPS, what approach are they taking to try and improve enforcement on speeding?
So we are out, we've got photo radar cars out, obviously at the moment only in construction zone and playground zones. We have our own patrols out there, we have our traffic units out there on the road, but I keep saying to people, they have to take ownership themselves. So our car drivers have to take ownership on the vehicles that they're driving, and they have to be aware of their surroundings.
And then finally, CPS has been partnered with the city on this safer mobility plan since 2024. Is there a pivot happening in light of the high number of fatalities we've seen in the last 2 years?
Yeah, we have meetings with them every month. We have a meeting next Tuesday. Discussions are going around on how we can bring that 10-year high down to a lower figure.
Are you able to give a sense of what you're looking at?
Again, we've talked about, you know, the crosswalks, hopefully trying to identify crosswalks. This is where we are with it at the moment, but obviously it's a joint venture.
Thank you.
You know, back to impaired driving, are you guys tending to see a lot more instances of this in December? Is this kind of the big part of the year? I mean, and maybe it is because you're enforcing more this time of year? Just give us a sense here of where it tends to get worse, or does it tend to be pretty steady throughout the year?
I think it's steady throughout the year, but I think everybody looks at December as the holiday season. As we said in the notes, we've got, you know, parties going on. Parties probably started at the end. We noticed Christmas seems to get longer and longer and longer. People have their Christmas trees up. They put them up in the middle of November, and then the parties start going. But we also get a lot of drink driving again in the summer periods as well, when we've got longer nights and people are drinking a lot more in the summer as well. But December is highlighted as a month where everybody seems to want to go out and party.
Demographically, it tends to be particular age groups more so than others, or it tends to be across the board?
No, not at all. It's across the board, completely across the board.
And you talk about drunk driving, but also road conditions can play a factor in this. And right now, some areas still have no lines on the road. Just tell us about how deadly it can be mixing those two together.
Yeah, you mix those two together. Again, you know, when we talk about speed and stopping distances as such, you know, the speed has got to be decreased so much when you're driving on these roads, especially when they haven't thawed out. And even when they have thawed out, we're getting running water which freezes overnight, and that can bring in black ice and all that, so people can't see it. So again, it goes down to speed. And if you mix speed and drink together, it's a nasty cocktail to have.
Obviously, I can see the biggest consequence is going to be fatalities and injuries and the impact on everybody. But that said, can you reiterate for folks here, just in terms of the penalty on this, and how maybe potentially big a wallop it is for people that are caught drinking and driving?
Yeah, so I don't want to get in the weeds on the penalty side of things, because that is the court processes, and the courts can give different sentencing for different types of drink driving, depending on the severity of it. So I don't really want to get into that subject.
Any other questions in the room? Okay, we will go to the folks on the phone. Operator, can you put through the first caller, please? Okay, if you've put through the first caller, we can't hear you, so. Can you put through the first caller, please?
Hi.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah. This is James Honey with Postmedia Calgary. Can you give more specifics about this program? How many traffic safety officers would be deployed, and how many check stops would be maintained?
Okay, so we're looking to run check stops every Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, Saturday from the 1st of December through to the 31st of December. Saturdays, we are going to get the involvement of our district officers as well as our traffic officers, and the sheriffs and the RCMP are going to be working with us as well.
Yeah. In a CPS, in a police commission, we learned that traffic safety is working at 60% capacity. How has that impacted your ability to conduct these check stops and enforce some of the problems you just mentioned?
Yeah, so when you get a reduction in number like at 60%, it's going to impact us a lot. But we're still maintaining that we're putting out check stops on a regular basis. They might not be as big as we'd like to put them out, but they are out there.
This year was the worst year for pedestrian safety. We saw over 30 fatalities. How many of them were due to impaired driving?
5.
5.
Correct.
And how do you think that the check stops and all of these enforcement mechanisms would reduce impaired driving?
So I think the more we kind of highlight it, the more that we're hoping that people are going to take it on board. We're not naive to the fact that people are still out there, and some people will say they will never get caught. My answer to that is at some stage they will get caught. It might not be today, but it might be tomorrow.
And just to get some clarification on these check stops, what are some of the fines that someone would face if they were found to have consumed alcohol or etc.?
Yeah, I can't give you a ballpark figure on that because that's the court processes, and they get different fines at different stages.